Well, no, it's saying I'm not plugged in is what it's saying. So now I got to figure that out.
But we didn't do the 30-second thing.
I turned it off because wasn't it kind of cheesy? Or
yeah, but I liked it. I was. I like the upward falling snow. Like that's a good creative choice.
I wasn't even looking. I am still scrambling to.
Yes, Clinton, we're doing the countdown thing.
Is that Stranger Things? Was the upside down? Was there? No. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I've still yet to see a single episode of Stranger Things.
I saw the first season and then I dipped out afterwards.
Yeah. That's fine. I think you can have a very happy experience. Just not to hate on the rest of it, but that's a good choice. That's not a bad choice at all.
It's one of those shows where it felt like all the subsequent seasons were tacked on because like they saw.
Well, once it was a hit, they're like do more, right? Yeah, exactly.
There are very few shows that I've seen where like a season 1 was the only thing they planned, and then afterwards all the unplanned seasons were actually good.
Yeah, well, that's been the big complaint, or related to the displeasure over the latest season of The Bear, because The Bear the Bear was supposed to be 3 seasons. The showrunner had a 3-season plan, huge hit, and they came back and they're like, well, why don't we do 4 seasons? And so basically took the 3rd season and stretched it out into basically a 2-parter, and the third season is really, season 3A, and season 4 is going to be 3B, and 3A didn't have any satisfying resolution at the end because they were scrambling to make it up because it was such a success, right? So, yeah.
Yep, those execs just don't know how to leave a good thing alone. There's not really much artistic integrity, just financial integrity.
But that's the thing that makes this all interesting is that, when you have something that's successful, I mean, it's hard not to want to do more of it, right? Like, like when you look at what the formula is, that's why I have so much respect for like the British Office and like all of those like classic British shows of the early 2000s. They were like, we did 6 episodes and 2 seasons and that's it. Like it was just like, they were very happy to walk away. Right. So.
Oh gosh. Yes. Technomensch, Supernatural. I love that show. And then I had to stop at some point.
Yeah.
Because way too much.
Way too much.
I can't think of any shows recently. I'm sure there are some. I'm very bad at TV these days where they had a couple seasons, they refused to go onward, and they just left it at that because I'm sure the allure of, hey, let me give you a whole bunch more money, do whatever the fuck you want is very, oh, pardon my French.
That's all right.
I can't think of anything recently.
Yeah. I will say, I know Squid Game definitely is one of those shows that I'm talking about where it's like unplanned after season 1. Well, maybe they did plan because they kind of left it on a cliffhanger on the end of season 1. I did kind of like season 2 actually. I
was wondering about that. And I heard, not to spoil anything, that there's definitely a cliffhanger for season 3. I'm kind of curious about it because I haven't watched the show yet, but I know the Thanos character. He is actually of the one K-pop band that I really followed. He's from that band, so I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I kind of scooped in to see like an episode. Like, oh, there's some neat stuff happening here. But yeah. Anyway, I'm glad to hear that you liked it because I was kind of like, really?
This dongle is not working the way it used to. Can you hear me?
Voice of God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
we just hear you. We don't see you.
Yeah, no, it's because something's weird. Something strange is afoot at the local Circle K. I have to go see if I can find the other dongle. I'm sorry. This dongle is not working.
Go for it.
So
you got to do.
Step away.
Right. How do I sound right now, by the way? I just raised my mic volume.
Great.
Seems all right.
Okay. Cousin Ajal, let me know. How do I sound?
I think it could be a little more up, maybe, Mishaal.
All right.
But my ears aren't the best, so Cousin Ajal, tell us what, Cousin Ajal is our audio meter there in the Twitch chat. So he says, yeah, up a little more. Still low for CPOTS 50.
I've heard people say that The Boys kind of went off the rails as well.
No, but then it came back.
Okay.
The latest season 4, was better than season 3. Because what happened with The Boys was that you had this like immovable object with Homelander, and like this character who's so evil and invulnerable, and they spent like the first 3 seasons trying to figure out how can we do that, and in season 4 they're like, we're not going to try to take him down. You know what I mean? Like, like they moved on from that paradigm, and it was it's pretty good. So
because that was my frustration at the end of season 3, because they had a shot and they didn't take it, and that was like the whole crux of it. And I was like,
and it was like the third time they didn't take it, right? Yeah, exactly. So season 4, they're still in conflict with Homelander, but they added stuff to Homelander's story. Like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I would say watch it. But like, there's stuff where like, oh, that's really smart. Like, that was very
Because I was like, after that last one, I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this with you guys.
Exactly.
Like, I can't. I'm sorry. It's just too hard.
It was very redundant. It got redundant by season 3, but season 4 was really good. I thought it was
great,
really good.
Awesome. Good to hear.
All right. So how do I sound now?
That sounds much better. That sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
Good. I think it sounds better, but we'll see what folks say in the chat room. It always takes about a few seconds for them to hear your latest. So, Mishaal, how many days were you in Vegas for? When did you get home?
I arrived Sunday and I left Thursday, so I wouldn't count Thursday as a day there. So
so you got a good 3, 4 days.
4 days.
So, yeah, right on. Cool. What was the best meal you had?
The best meal. To be honest, I mostly like survived off of like hors d'oeuvres and like all this random like
all the mixer food,
yeah. Like I did have some meals. Honestly, the bar and grill at the hotel that I stayed at was pretty good.
Which hotel?
I wasn't expecting. It's apparently not actually a Holiday Inn. It's like a Holiday Inn villa. But cool. I later found out that it's the kind of place that they license the name, but they try to sell you timeshares.
Oh, it's like that sort of place. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I figured out, I'm like, why are they calling me about that? Why do they want me to take a tour of this place at like 8 a.m. And I'm like, okay, I figured it out. It's a timeshare scam.
Yeah.
My husband signed us up for some kind of like, after we went to Hawaii, they're, selling you like a discount on a subsequent holiday. And he didn't tell me that we'd have to do some kind of 90-minute thing, like one of those tours. And I'm like, I don't know if it was worth it. I might have paid full price just to avoid having someone pitch to me. Because apparently they're very, especially if you're a kind of too nice kind of person, it can be very difficult to just be like, F off. I don't know. Right. No, thank you.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes.
It's kind of part of the deal, right?
Yeah.
Honestly,
my mother
the place.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The place I was staying at is right next to the Sphere, so I would recommend it.
Oh, that's really cool, dude.
So if you're going to Vegas, it's a pretty nice place.
Nice. What was it called?
Like Holiday Inn. Let me look it up, the exact name, while we're waiting for Jason. Holiday Inn Club Vacations.
Ooh, I like that.
Resort. Really nice, yeah. Only thing that's might be a bit of a hassle is if you have a lot of luggage, there's no elevators.
Oh,
up to 3 stories, like up to 3 floors. So, yeah. But it wasn't that big of a deal for me. So yeah, hopefully we all get to go to CES next year.
No, thank you.
Honestly, it's not bad. I don't know why people hate on.
No,
CES
it's not
so
bad.
much.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just Vegas in general. I still have PTSD from running an event in Vegas, which can be very exhausting. But but yeah, it's funny because I was talking to because my friend Brendan went to see us for the first time, so he was telling me how it was, and I said to him it's the kind of thing everyone should go, especially in our business. Everyone should go at least once to get the lay of the land, and then once again to like do it on your own terms. Like I think we're gonna hear from Jason when he comes back about like he's already planning for next year. Like once you figure out what to do, then you need the next one for it. But after that, like it's the same way that I kind of treated San Diego Comic-Con, which was like, you could go to CES or San Diego Comic-Con and like experience it and work it and do stuff like that, but you can also just stay home and still work it and cover it from home just as easy. So it's
well, I kind of had that opinion before, but like the number of people that I met, like from all these
the networking is great. Yeah, for sure.
Networking, you can't beat that.
Yeah. That is solid. So, but yeah, Vegas is. Whew. Since we're killing some time before Jason comes back on, did I ever tell you guys that my Vegas story, my event story? So I organized a comic convention in Vegas in 2012. So more than 10 years ago, and we held it at the Hard Rock Hotel, right? We used their convention space and all that sort of stuff. And it was me and my friends in San Francisco. We had never done this before. Whatever it was, right? We used Eventbrite for the tickets. We sold a bundled ticket where you could get the hotel room and the ticket to the event and that sort of thing. So like it was like $800, like at the cheapest to go to this thing. So the event was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. I got into Vegas on Wednesday. I was the first one on the ground. I'm like, let me just get the lay of the land, get everything going. And so I go and I get to the hotel. I go to meet with the hotel people, and they're excited for the event, all stuff like that. They're like, okay, and you have a balance of $10,000 that we'll need payment on. And so I said, okay, sure thing. Let me get that for you. So I go to Eventbrite because I was keeping all the money in the Eventbrite account, and we had like $10,500 in that account, right? I'm like, oh, I'll just withdraw this and give it to them. But Eventbrite, and I imagine what I learned about a lot of these ticket holder folks is that they hold a percentage of your sales for chargebacks and cancellations and declines and things like that. Mm-hmm. And the percentage that they held back was exactly $10,000. So I could not access my $10,000 until a week after the event. So now I'm in Vegas and I owe the Hard Rock Hotel $10,000. So I go back to the people and I say, oh yeah, about the $10,000. My the ticket people, they're holding it because of chargebacks and declines. I'll get it a week after the event. So we'll just do the event. And then a week later, I'll send you guys a check and we'll be good. And they looked at me and they're like, Mr. Richards, you're at a hotel in Las Vegas. If we don't have $10,000 by Friday morning, the doors will be locked and your event will not happen. Right? Just plainly. And I said, okay. So run back to my hotel room, make some phone calls and scrounge up 10 grand. And then, and what happened was that I had to call in favors and borrow money and stuff like that from people.
Oh, shit.
And so then I go to the bank to like get it. But the problem was that like the business account that I had set up for this convention was with US Bank, and all my banking is with Bank of America. And so I had people transfer me money into Bank of America, but I couldn't get a cashier check. I had to move that money. So I drove to the bank and withdrew $10,000 cash, which in Vegas, they give you the brick of money. Right, they give you like that thing, and then I like had to drive to the U.S. Bank and deposit that, and they get a cashier's check, and so it was a very stressful 24 hours. So,
dude.
Yeah. So it was not ideal, but we survived and we did it. So
I just can't imagine the chaos of organizing an event of anything close to the scale of CES.
Oh my God, I can't even
how much is involved.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Those massive huge events are just like they're just machines. They're like it's crazy. So for those of you who
one thing I'll say is the CES app was actually really good.
Oh yeah.
Like navigating indoors is really difficult with like accuracy and everything, but like I don't know exactly how they set it up. If they're using like Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi ranging, but not something in between Wi-Fi ranging and like the signal strength. Yep. But like you're able to actually pretty accurately navigate indoors using their application.
Cool.
Like, precise wayfinding from your current location through all the rooms to the exact booth that you want to go.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was very helpful for me, like finding exactly where to go and get there on time.
That is my memory of CES, because I haven't been to CES in over 10 years, and like just navigating the show floor and finding the right booth and like all that sort of stuff was got to be very, very challenging. So.
No, yeah, I actually don't know if many people were even using the app. I was like walking around. I felt like I was the only one holding up my phone, like navigating. And I'm like, you guys are missing out. This thing rocks.
Well, now you need to get smart glasses. You get the new
get the Android
XR, and then you'll have the nav. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, cool. that would be a killer use of it, right?
It would, yeah.
Next CES, Google, if you're listening, next CES, have these glasses. for like demo and stuff like that. Navigate around. Work with CES folks.
I'm trying to find a picture of me at CES. There's a specific one that I'm trying to remember. Where is it?
And yeah, just planning your day around like, oh, I'm gonna be at the Venetian versus I'm gonna be at the LVCC. Like, here are all these booths in this one area. Let me tackle them all together. You know, like a lot of people say, like, you make a plan, you're not gonna be able to go to all the booths that you want to.
Right.
For me, I actually went to almost every booth that I wanted to go to, and then some. The only one I couldn't do was Lenovo's booth. And this is one criticism I have of the CES app. Inside the app, if you search for like a company, it lists like 10 different rooms, but it doesn't tell you which one is like their main room, like their demo room, versus one of their meeting rooms, versus one of their like employee rooms. So I was like, there's like 10 different rooms that Lenovo booked at the Venetian. And I'm just like walking to them, and it's like, oh, that's for employees only. Oh, that's a meeting room. I'm like, forget it. I give up.
Yeah.
It's just so inefficient.
So here is me and some of my former coworkers at Vision 3 and Jimmy Fallon at CES.
That's so cute.
What year was it? You can't see the badges, but yeah, this was it was the first year. It was the first year.
That's young Ron.
Yeah, and young Jimmy Fallon too. It was the first year when he started doing the Tonight Show, and he like was shooting all stuff on the show floor at CES, and like was trying to be cool and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was fun. That was young me back in the day. Oh God.
Yeah, man, no kidding. Look at that.
Fun times.
Well, apparently I need to buy a new dongle because that one's not working anymore.
Yeah, so what happened?
I don't know.
It just died
anymore. Well, it works. It just doesn't take the power in, and that laptop would have died. Like, there's just no question. It would have died during the show. So I just need to send a quick message to my wife to say, I'm downstairs when you get home. Just try and be a little quiet. While you make dinner literally right there. But it's the only option I have. Yep. It'll be fine. She doesn't get home until like 6 or 6:10. So, so I'm scrambling to kind of get things set up. So
okay. As soon as you are ready, we can roll. So
yep.
We're just talking about CES, but you cannot talk about it until the show starts. So
we're talking about the things about CES that are not really relevant to Android, but just about the show itself.
The experience.
Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure that I've got my screen share all set up, and then I can wing the rest.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I don't even have our dock open.
Well, that's important. Oh, man, and my overhead shot just isn't set up. So it's fine. We don't need an overhead shot. I'll just hold up things like this.
Nothing like the first show back from CES, right?
Totally. Well, and after, like a month of not doing the show upstairs, apparently this is like, it's like retribution. You dare forget about me? I should have you killed.
Jesus, wow, you mentioned Carlito's Way, and you just really...
It's on the mind. Yep. Okay. Okay. I've sent my wife the message. Cool. I think everything else, we can just wing it. Let me make sure I've got the right banners loaded. Media assets, yes, we're good. No, we don't have video clips. Music, loop
I can play the countdown again if you want.
Nah, the countdown. That was so 20 minutes ago. All right. And then get that email in. Get it in faster. Okay. So furious.
I know, okay. Just so much typing.
Okay, I'm good.
Win, is it a physical keyboard?
Mine?
Yeah.
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 Why?
It's got good clicky-clacky going on.
Oh, I got the clickies and the clackies on this one. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I wasn't even paying attention to what you guys were saying. I was finishing typing up my notes.
We're enjoying the fury of your note-taking that was going on.
I was not paying attention.
I swear, if we had like a hyper up close on your forehead, we would have seen a little bead of sweat go.
She's breaking into the to the Swiss bank account.
Exactly.
She's hacking
what
the
you
matrix.
Don't see, yeah, is my husband's my husband's actually on a separate keyboard next to me, also typing on the same keyboard at the same time.
On the same keyboard.
On the same keyboard. Yeah, that's a scene from NCIS.
Right.
Wait, the same model keyboard.
The infamous
No, literally the same keyboard.
That was a scene from NCIS where this girl was hacking into a thing and then she was not doing well. Yeah, and she needed help. Oh no, sorry, it was the other guy. It was like one of the, so another person came over and started typing on the same keyboard. Let me help you, as if that's how that works.
To their
that is so
in their
funny.
credit, I heard it's apparently like a long running joke for them to make hacking scenes look as ridiculous as possible.
I know, but then people actually think that's how that works. For our wedding, we were gonna recreate it, and I even had I even made a little video that was actually Android Studio with some stock hacking graphics from somewhere, but I couldn't get it to load. And I even had a keyboard that was gonna be unplugged, and we were even practiced it, but then I was like, all right, everybody just wants to get to dinner. We'll just stop and. Because then I was like, no, then our relatives will actually think that that's how you do things.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Yeah. You can type.
All right. Well, this is how this goes. Let's do it. Let's do a show.
All right.
So I'm going to remove Huyen, remove Mishaal. Ron, you stay. You're cool. Just kidding. You're not cool.
Nope. I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
Cover me up. All right. Let's
graphic.
do it.
And here we go.
Well, hello, and welcome to Android Faithful, episode number 77, recorded on January 14th, 2025. We are your weekly source of news, hardware, apps, emails, feedback, CES wrap-ups, everything under the sun for the world of Android. I'm Ron Richards.
So many things under the sun. I am Jason Howell.
I am also under the sun. At least I was before. I'm into it now.
I am not under the sun because it's night here. I am Mishaal Rahman.
It is
Mishaal hates the sun.
It is good to be out of the Vegas sun, sir, isn't it? What was the weather like in Vegas when you were there for CES?
For the first 2 days, it was kind of like cold, but since it was like it wasn't a lot of wind, it didn't actually feel cold.
Yeah.
But then I think on like Tuesday night, the wind really kicked in and it got really cold.
Wow,
It was actually pretty cool. For a trip to Vegas.
All of my Vegas experiences has been awful hot and everything and just miserable. But we're glad to have you guys back from Vegas. We're gonna talk about your experiences real quickly before we get in the show. Just want to take a moment. I'm sure everybody's hearing this on all their podcasts and all their media they're listening to and things like that. But we just want to take a moment to kind of acknowledge what's going on in the Los Angeles area. I know we all have lots of friends that live in the LA area who are affected by the fires and things like that. And so if anybody in our audience is affected by that, our hearts are with you. Hopefully this show is providing a little bit of distraction from the hellscape that LA has become. I'm actually going there next week. I'm actually flying into Orange County and then flying at LAX. So I'm really curious to see what it's going to be like. But we didn't want to do the show without kind of acknowledging what's going on out there and that our hearts are with everyone in LA. And we're actually going to be taking a portion of our Patreon and other revenue sources and proceeds from this month from Android Faithful, and we're going to be donating it to some of the relief effort in LA. So if you are an active member of Patreon for Android Faithful, you're going to be indirectly helping out folks in LA. If you're thinking about making the jump to go to Patreon, if you jump this month and join, a portion of your proceeds will go towards helping people in LA. So thank you everybody for that. But yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we shared that sentiment. So crazy.
It is. Yeah. It really reminds me of the Santa Rosa fires back in 2017, which were right on the cusp of Petaluma.
Sooner than 2017, weren't there fires during the pandemic?
Maybe it was 2018. It was around there.
It was
the one that tore through Santa Rosa was 2017 or 2018, and then there were fires.
There were fires post pandemic because I remember being getting pictures.
But
from
the big one that ran through Santa Rosa was 2017 or 2018. I can't remember, but it sucked. It was horrible. Yeah. So I feel for everyone.
So all right. Well, that said, let's get on with the distraction and you guys went to CES.
Oh, that's right.
We did.
We did. And you know what? We both went to CES. We never saw each other.
You're kidding
We
me.
were like,
Really?
no.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
I don't like you guys were talking a little bit in pre-show about like how you plan for CES and everything. I thought I was doing it right. Like I scheduled so many like meetings and interviews and like booked out my main solid day, which was Wednesday. And it's fine. I had some really great interviews and everything, but I didn't see nearly as much as I wanted to see. And I was jam-packed. I don't know about you, Mishaal. I know you were busy too.
Well, I mean, Jason, you were there for basically just one day. That's probably why.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah,
Sunday,
too,
I went to
yeah.
CES Unveiled. Monday, I went to the Samsung press release, the press conference, and also the Google demo, which we'll talk about in a bit. Tuesday, the first official day of CES, was pretty packed for me. Wednesday, also pretty packed for me. But I spent both Tuesday and Wednesday in different places, so maybe that's why I didn't see you. Like, I don't know what like, where did you mostly spend your Wednesday? At the LVCC or at the Venetian?
Oh, both. Like
going back and forth. Yeah, that's tough.
As with everything in my independent life, I'm relearning how to do all this stuff because I used to have a team to plan it, and I'm just a rookie. I'm a rookie at CESing by myself.
But Jason, you've been to CES before, right? It wasn't like your first CES. It was just your first solo. It was your first solo CES. That's all, right?
Yeah. Well, it's my first solo CES, which means it's my first time really kind of being responsible for where I go and when.
Yeah.
And and so the hopping between convention centers and everything. It's not a smart move. It's best to just plan a day for here, a day for there, and there's just a lot of cruising around.
All right. So what did you guys what did you guys see? What were your best of shows, worst of shows? What made the trip worth it?
Well, let me start out, I guess, by bringing up the Google TV and the Gemini stuff that Google announced. So Google announced that they are integrating Gemini further into Google TV, and I actually covered this on Android Police. So basically,
and we talked about it last week on the show too. So
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this came across. It might not have been clear to anyone who's reading the announcements, but from what I was told, it's not the fact that Gemini is replacing Google Assistant, kind of like how Gemini is replacing Google Assistant on phones. It's more like they're adding Gemini capabilities onto Google Assistant. And the difference, there's actually a big distinction between the two. Because like we see on phones, when you have Gemini completely replacing Assistant, they have to add Assistant functionality back in, and then you have these extensions that allow it to do stuff. Whereas with the Assistant on Google TV, you still have the Assistant as the backend. But when you're doing like queries that Assistant can't answer, like general voice search queries, then you have Gemini taking over and answering those things for you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big distinction between what's happening with Google TV, Gemini on Google TV versus Gemini on phones.
I will say, having not attended the event or the briefing that you did, and just on the receiving end, we talked about it last week. It was very underwhelming in terms of Google's rollout of that. They did a blog post that was one paragraph.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. Like their summary of the briefing that they sent me over email was more detailed
than that blog post.
The blog post. I don't know what the deal was.
It was really kind of baffling. And so like and basically what we talked about last week, what it came to it was that Gemini's going to be a Google TV. You can talk to your TV. Cool. Move on. Like it was kind of underwhelming. But as you just explained it, Mishaal, that has a lot more impact, I think. I feel like they could have done a little more hoopla around it, personally.
I think in just in general, what Gemini is doing to Google TV and Google Nest devices, because they also showed a demo of it enhancing voice queries on Nest smart displays and Nest speakers.
Yep.
In general, what it's doing is basically allowing you to be a lot more vague with the kinds of things that you ask it, and allowing it to get kind of vague responses. Because like the way you have to formulate your queries, when you're talking to Assistant, you've probably come across this before. You probably subconsciously trained yourself to ask it questions in a way that you think you'll actually get a response, right? But a lot of people haven't trained themselves to think like that, to actually ask their Assistant in a way that'll get them a good response. Maybe like your parents or like anyone who's elderly, right? They just don't know how to interact with it that way. But Gemini kind of makes it so you can kind of just have at it. Just say whatever you want in a way you want, and it'll hopefully understand it. And I think it probably does a better job at understanding it. And also, like, in terms of like general voice queries, right? Like, if you wanted to, there was like a specific example. There was a couple of examples of things that they did on Google TV and the Nest displays that showed you like the kind of things you can do. I'm sure you've had this happen on your Nest display. If you have a display at home, you've asked it a question before, and it responds with, "I don't know, but here's what I found on the web that can help."
Yeah,
I've had that happen so many times, and I have a Nest display that's turned away from me in the kitchen, is like faced towards the living room, and like whenever that happens, I'm like, forget it. I'm not even gonna bother going to it because it's just an inconvenient place for me to look at it, right? Yep. But the idea with Gemini is that it can, in more situations, actually formulate a response. And of course, it's debatable how good that response will be, given what we've seen with generative AI, the AI overviews in Google search results. But, it has been getting better and better. So I do think by the time this rolls out widely, this is still in like early access. And I was told that they are kind of limiting the verbosity and like what kinds of things it can actually answer for you. I do think it should be pretty good, at least much better than we have right now with Assistant on Google TV devices and Google Nest devices.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Assistant on Google TV devices can be really confusing because even the onboarding on Google TV says, ask it these questions. And then when you do, it never really gives you an answer to those questions. It just, these are videos we found on YouTube that are related to the thing you asked about. And it's like, why did you have me ask that question? I didn't even get an answer. I just got a bunch of random videos that have that actor in it, Right. And so hopefully Gemini, as Gemini integrates more, it'll actually give you what you're kind of looking for.
And there were actually 3 specific like features that are coming with the change to Gemini on Google TV. The first is that when you ask questions, in the response that you can actually get relevant YouTube videos that, it poured through and it thinks are relevant to your answer. So you can quickly
it thinks are relevant, right?
It thinks
relevant.
Yeah. The second one is that you're getting a Google TV news brief. So this feature will allow you to basically get a AI generated summary of the top news story of the day, the top like 3 to 6 news stories. Of course I asked him like, what are you guys doing to make sure that this is not going to be a disaster like, Apple Intelligence summary of news. And,
this is a teaser for this is a teaser for the patron pick, by the way. So it's very, because we're talking about the new daily listen thing on that, which is, I think, very similar, right, Mishaal?
Well, I mean, I guess like the big difference would be that since this is, like they're generating this on the cloud, they have a lot more context to work off, versus like Apple Intelligence is literally just a summary of a headline in a notification. That's all the context that it has, right?
Yeah.
There's probably a lot less potential for it to majorly screw up like Apple Intelligence has. But we'll have to see how good it actually is in practice. I did get a demo of it that I can share a video of soon once I write an article on it. And then finally, the last AI generated, like, I guess, improvement was what was the last one?
All right. Well, you think about that. Yeah.
So, think about that. Yeah.
So did you get to see any hardware? Did you get your hands on any of this stuff? Did you see the TCL stuff that everybody was raving about?
No. That hardware is coming later this year, so they didn't announce any specific devices. But speaking of hardware, actually, they did also mention, I don't know if you covered it in the blog post or that I published last week, is that future Google TV devices will have far field microphones for, so you can say the magic hot word at a distance without walking up to it. And they'll also have proximity sensors so that you can just walk up to it, and then it'll transition from the ambient screensaver to a new widget hub that'll show you basically like your current weather.
That's like I have that on the tablet stories. Now. I've got the widget
hub
on
the tablet.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Well, any non-Google hardware?
Yes, actually. I didn't get it, as I mentioned in the pre-show, I didn't get a chance to check out the TCL booth because the CES app just would not take me to the right... Sorry, it wouldn't take me to the right Lenovo booth. I didn't get to see the Lenovo tablets. Yeah. But I did get to see the TCL devices, their Next Paper 4.0 devices. Specifically their smartphone and their the tablet.
Yep, and we covered those announcements last week on the show, right? So, how are they?
I will say in person, in real life, the smartphone for only $199 actually looks and feels pretty premium, which surprised me. And also the tablet, just a basic tablet, like there's nothing to write home about it. But the display, they've really improved a lot since the first generation. Like I remember seeing the next paper at CES, I think before COVID, and then also last CES, I also saw their 3.0, and it just feels like they've gotten so much better over the generations, and it feels like it's at a point where it's still not like exactly on par with e-ink, but it's pretty dang close. And I would say you might genuinely get a lot of benefits from switching to this kind of display, because you get the high refresh rate up to 120 hertz on both devices, but you can switch to a maximum ink mode that basically makes it look like e-ink. And you can switch between that and also a color mode where colors don't actually look too bad. That's one of the issues with color e-ink, is that sure, you get colors, but they're really washed out and looks terrible. They actually look pretty decent on this device. And if I can pull up, I have some images here. Here, I can show this quickly. Here's an image of the phone, the TCL 60 XE, I think. You see you have a max ink mode, ink paper mode, and color paper mode. And I think here's a tablet. You have a regular mode, color paper mode, and ink paper mode. And I think here's our Android Faithful article.
So for our audio listeners, these are all shots Mishaal took at CES of the TCL devices with the next paper, and seeing our lovely website at androidfaithful.com in black and white in the paper mode.
This is one of the things. It's hard to come across in in photos. This is something you got to try out for yourself. Yep. And I think they did a really good job in making it feel like e-paper, even though it's not actually e-ink.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see that in person. I didn't get a chance to do it, but I have to give TCL credit because they continue to make developments and progress on this next paper technology. And I think it sounds like they're starting to kind of see the benefit of all of that continued work. And it's certainly a differentiator for their hardware.
And I got to say that $199 phone, that's a pretty good phone. Amazing price point, but also what you're getting for it. Like that, I feel like that needs to be folded into our bank of recommendations for when people are like, I'm looking for a mid-range or a budget phone, because you're getting a lot with that phone, and you're not giving a lot.
Especially if you're worried about your eye health and fatigue, that might be worth looking at.
Yeah. So Jason, what did you see at the show?
Oh, so what I was there for was kind of a mixture of AI and wearable tech. So, really trying to find the AR XR stuff. There was, I'm suddenly blanking, but there was this wrist. It totally was there, and then it just completely dropped out. But it's basically like a bracelet that you wear that taps into the nerves that pass through your hand. So as you do hand control gestures for not just for AR and XR, but for your computer, it picks up on the neurons firing, and you can do these kind of advanced control mechanisms, which is really interesting.
I don't like that. That sounds
Mudra.
creepy.
It's called Mudra, MUDRA. That was very interesting. I'm actually going to get one of those to play around with, so I'm looking forward to that. A few Android embedded devices, like devices that have an Android in there that you never would know, because it's not like they feature it as a thing. They've just built their platform on top of it. GrandPad, which is a tablet designed for elderly people, but literally 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. People who might have never used, they might not even own a computer, but these are tablets that have been created to allow them to kind of do things like photo sharing and video calls and stuff like that with their families and their friends and stuff. I thought that was interesting. The Vasco Translator, which is like a handheld single-use device that uses AI for audio translation between, just a ton of different languages. What was cool about, and that was running Android underneath, but what was cool about that is you can read a 2-sentence blurb into it, and it will create a voice model of your voice so that all of your translations end up in your voice going outwards. So when you speak to it in English, it translates into Polish, and it's your voice with a Polish accent speaking Polish, on the translation side of things. So interesting kind of stuff there.
Very cool.
And then a few other things, like a smartwatch for kids called Pinwheel. That had nothing to do with Android as far as I know. But yeah, I think in retrospect, in hindsight, I would plan for some of these meetings in advance. And then I would also just have more days there so that I can have some accidents happen, where I'm just in a hall wandering around, have the time to schedule a visit to Lenovo and TCL. I just, it's my first time back to CES since like 2017. So I'm a little rusty, but it's good to be back.
Also, one other thing I had to see was a live demo of satellite connectivity on the Pixel. Sorry, not the Pixel 9, but from Skylo Technologies, a company that we interviewed.
The satellite texting people, right?
Yeah, the satellite texting company. They're actually like a network provider, kind of like the T-Mobile of satellite connectivity. They had like a Samsung Exynos dev kit, and they had it in like this box and like a custom OS build that forced it to connect to satellites, and they demonstrated actual regular SMS texting from this satellite phone to any of our phone numbers. I can't have a video. I don't have a video to share because like the people who are demonstrating it, we use our own personal phone number, so like I don't want anyone's personal phone number showing up on these videos. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see how quickly, like, it took a few seconds for it to transmit the SMS from the satellite phone to the satellite, and then have it actually pop up on the receiving device. It wasn't that long. It was like 15 seconds, 10 seconds, and we were able to actually send messages back and forth. And they even demonstrated like an AI chatbot. If, I guess, for some reason you're in the remote area, you want to ask it about golf questions, you can ask it about golf.
Yeah.
Or whatever else, if you want to ask it about, are these berries poisonous or something? I don't know.
And you're waiting for the response, right?
Waiting for the response.
I trust you, chatbot. Oh, you say no? Okay.
Okay. That's too funny. That's cool. Love Skylo. So I guess one of my favorite things coming out of CES is trying to see like what was the best stuff coming out of it. And Huyen and I, talking about it last week, got some perspective from the CES at home, but you guys were there on the floor. It seems like TCL and Lenovo both had very good shows, as well as OnePlus with the launch of the OnePlus 13. Although for some reason I don't feel like the OnePlus 13 was a CES announcement. It just happened to be happening during CES, right? But it seemed like those Lenovo tablets went over very, very well, as did the TCL stuff. Did anybody else hear anything in the last week that you would think is the winner of CES, or something that you're like, ooh, I want that, or anything? Or
I did want to mention that the Legion tabs sold out in 48 hours. I don't think we got to mention that, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
I did want to see that.
That's a good sign.
It's an 8.8 inch tablet. Yeah. It's like basically an iPad mini, but with Android.
I know that Android.
I just couldn't find where they were at CES. Come on, Lenovo.
No, it's like the white whale. You can find. I know that like Android Police did their best of CES roundup, and the Legion tab was on that list, which I thought would not surprising to hear that it's sold out now. So.
I heard a lot of people excited about the Anker 25,000 milliamp hour 165 watt power bank with the retractable cords. And here's what sucks about that, because I went to the booth and I saw it and I was like, oh, this is really rad. I wish that I could get it, because literally a day before going to the Consumer Electronics Show, I bought an Anker power brick that is like the previous version of it that doesn't have the retractable dang cords. So I'm there at the booth holding them both side by side. I'm just like, seriously, a day separated me from getting the latest and greatest.
Yeah, so this is for those who are watching the video. Here's a picture of the Anker 25K 165 watt power bank with the little display showing how much percentage is there and the retractable cable. So
yeah,
it's real nice. Both my husband and I have one too, Jason, and I can't show this to him, otherwise we're gonna have another battery bank in the house, and we already have. That's the kind of people we are. Just like, ooh, retractable cable, that's so much better.
Totally.
When we're both like Android developers and we have 15,000 cables on us at all times, it's really not necessary. But
no,
that
really
is pretty
isn't.
Freaking cool.
But it has it, and this one doesn't.
Exactly. It's all about what you don't have.
Yes, right.
One really cool product that was at CES that I didn't get to see, but I would really love to try out someday, is the O Snap, or the M-Con from O Snap. So this is basically one of those telescopic gaming controllers for your phone, but I think it's like the first one that I've seen that uses MagSafe. So if you have a MagSafe phone, or like a MagSafe case like this, you can just snap it onto your phone and quickly pull it off and pull it on. Like, if you use any of those gaming controllers, it's kind of annoying to like extend it, make sure it's in the right position, getting your phone in. This one is just snap on and snap off. I have photos of it. They only had one unit, but it was in like a glass case, and I couldn't actually play around with it.
I love OSnap. My little pop socket. Cube.
They actually gave me one of those sockets. Yeah.
Yeah. After I got this, I figured whatever. It's fairly affordable. What is it like? I think it's like $20, 25. Like, I think depending on the model, it could be over 25 or under 20 $20. It is surprisingly durable for a little piece of plastic. And me just being me and wave my phone around. So
I fidget with mine all time.
Really, but yeah. So I guess if anything else, I would trust that the M-Con would be a fun, semi-durable accessory.
Cool. I always look for the weird at CES, and I was bummed to see there wasn't a lot of and I don't know, I didn't dig deep enough, but I didn't see a lot of reporting on like any concept phones or any like crazy foldables or like we've seen in the previous years. But Lenovo, drafting off all those great tablet announcements, Lenovo did have a rollable laptop. The ThinkBook,
totally.
The ThinkBook Plus Gen 6 rollable. While this is an Android and it's not running Chrome OS, that sort of thing, but it's still a rollable display on a laptop, which is, I love my rollables. So
yeah. And then I should also mention from the Digital Trends article from Joe Maring, he featured a phone that has an embedded wearable in the camera housing. Which is just ridiculous. It's an Alcatel WP200 Pro, and in the large, ginormous circular camera housing is this little like rectangular wearable thing that you could just pop out. And
the Ukatels,
it looks horrifying.
The Ukatels, like I'm so mad at both of you for not going to check out these Alcatel or Ukatel phones.
Yeah.
Because the smartphone with the built-in wearable is just fantastic. And
come on, this has Ron written over it.
Exactly. And then Ukatel, who are like the leaders in durable or whatever phone, came out with the biggest battery. Like, I feel like this is something we hear every time, but like we're looking at, for our audio listeners, we're looking at a picture of it. This is a phone that looks to be, that's at least 2 inches thick. Like, it is an enormous 33,000 milliamp battery.
I mean, it's almost as thick as Joe's thumb.
Yeah.
Like from like base of hand to tip of thumb.
I was gonna say,
yeah. Not like width of the thumb, but like from the base of the hand to the top of the thumb. That's basically the.
Yeah, it can cause some blunt force trauma, y'all, if you get smacked with this thing by accident.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a weapon.
It is a brick. It is a brick. It is called the WP100 Titan.
With the backlight. There you go. The backlight.
Yep. Yeah, I was like, can you even bring this phone on a plane? Oh my! Like, it's so big that I'm honestly I have to like look it up.
Such a good
question.
They
might not believe you that it's they might not believe you that it's a phone. They might think it's something.
That's not a phone. That's a battery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like a really massive like external battery pack. Yep. But I mean, it has a 33,000 milliamp hour battery in it, so it kind of is.
I think
Jason. I love a 33,000 milliamp hour battery with a phone on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And a projector.
I love Ukatel so much because they have committed to rugged devices. They've got all these insane kind of phones. And then on top of it, they also sell a portable solar panel, which is a solar panel generator that you can use. Like, Ukatel is, I'm on board for Ukatel. Okay. I like them. So.
In 10 years, there will be a ruggable, and it will be a rugged rollable.
That's it, ruggable.
That doubles as a projector and probably like as a tent. You know what I mean? It could like double the tent. So ruggable. Just wait. 10 years from now, we'll be talking about the latest ruggable from Ukatel. 100%.
Ruggables.
Very cool.
Love it.
All right. Well, so CES, thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you go again? Would you worth the time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely go again. I would plan more time though. I need to go 2 days earlier than I did. Yeah, it was a very last minute planned thing. I'm happy I went, but I'd do a lot of things different next year.
Yeah. All right. And Mishaal, you gave a thumbs up. You definitely would go?
Yep. Yeah, I'd go again.
All right, cool. Awesome. Well, that's going to close. Is there anything else in CES we got touched? I don't think so. All right, cool.
Nah.
So, yep.
I mean, it's such a big show. Yeah, probably. But
there's all
we
the
can't
stuff
talk
I could talk
CES
about, but we don't want to take up the whole show.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, I'll close the book on CES 2025, and in a year from now, we'll be talking about CES 2026. I don't know. Maybe I'll go one of these years. I don't know. If I don't have to pay for anything, then I'll go. Like that's all right. Like, if I don't want to have to like wait in line either. Like that's all right.
We should go
So
one
Ron's
year.
never going to CES.
I know.
I'll go because then we can all go to a buffet together or
It
something.
would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We got to do that.
So,
We got to do that.
All right, cool. Well, moving on away from CES, I did see some news coming after CES around Google Home devices. We all know that Matter is a pretty big deal in terms of when it comes to the these in-home IoT devices coming up. And Google announced that they've added full local control of Matter devices to Google Home hubs. Which basically means that if you've got a Google Home device at home, you can view and control your Matter devices directly. So so you don't need to go up back to the cloud and back down to the device. You can connect the devices directly to Google Home Hub and control them, which has better speed, no latency, and also better privacy and security. So Matter is opening the doors to the connected home even more now with this integration with Google Home. So. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Matter was all over. That is another thing about CES is that Matter was everywhere, which is wonderful for the smart home ecosystem. We're kind of, thanks to Matter and its adoption, its wider adoption with every day, the smart home is becoming a less kind of difficult thing to set up, to find compatibility for and everything. So that's good news.
Well, Matter matters, and so do numbers. Do they matter? And we like numbers here. So just to kind of wrap up the reporting of 2022, Counterpoint has released kind of like their, I guess, year-end analysis, and kind of it just summarizes a lot of things that we talked about all through this year, where 2024 was basically a recovery year for smartphone sales, and kind of after a two-year decline in 2022 and 2023. 2024 overall saw a 4% year-over-year growth. So smartphones are back, baby. Don't expect pre-COVID numbers again, but they are, very much touting this as a turnaround for the industry. The top 5 OEMs for the year, of course, by market share are not surprising. The first 2 slots held by Samsung and Apple at 19 and 18%. Not a lot of difference. And then following it up is Xiaomi at number 3 with 14% of the market. Oppo and Vivo both have 8% each. And then everybody else is in the remaining, whatever the math on that is, 33%.
But look at that Xiaomi percentage growth.
Yeah. So that is a thing though. And that is kind of like the big deal is that whereas, it's hard to kind of topple Samsung and Apple, they honestly were kind of plateauing with Apple losing about 2% share, Samsung only growing 1%. The big news is, of course, Xiaomi has been making a lot of moves and gained 12%. And that's super impressive because, for example, Xiaomi was able to do or to have that growth without, us over here
without access to the entire world,
the entire world market. So that's very impressive. It also is worth noting, though, that part of again what is also making Samsung and Apple's growth relatively flat is that there is aggressive competition not just from Xiaomi but Huawei, Honor, and Motorola. And those all make up the fastest growing OEMs among the top 10 brands. So, it's kind of hard to topple them right now, but everyone is making a really big effort and making some weight. So we'll see there.
Sorry, when to interrupt, but where does Ucatel land on that list?
Others.
It should be higher though. Come on.
They did mention Transsion, which is like the parent company of one of our favorite brands, Techno, is also doing quite well as well. And a lot of it also is again like a lot of these companies focusing on non-European, US markets, so Africa, Asia. So yeah, good all around there, spreading the smartphone wealth. So They kind of talked about some other factors just to wrap it up. And I wish Juan Bagnell was here, because last time we talked about counterpoint numbers, he rolled his eyes a bit at at their enthusiasm for AI. And I wish Juan was here to roll his eyes again, because a counterpoint does continue to believe in the promise of generative AI. And I don't think you need to necessarily be bullish on Gen AI to maybe believe in the prediction by Counterpoint that by 2028, 9 out of 10 smartphones over $250 will be Gen AI capable. We're kind of seeing it already. The mid-range, the lower premium to mid-range are definitely getting those chips, SoCs, and Gen AI features. So they're just saying they just don't see it stopping. Something that I think is worth noting is that while Counterpoint sees, the volume of smartphone sales not really much increasing, just kind of like steadily increasing, they do see profits increasing, and that is because of new favorite word. I hate the concept, but new favorite word, premiumization, which has been happening a lot. And premiumization is basically a strategy by justifying increasing prices for products through increasing the perceived value of that same product. So you throw in some AI, we get to charge you a little more for it. Use some like different features, give you this or that. We're going to charge you more for it. And to kind of back that up, the fastest growing segment of smartphones was the ultra premium smartphone band, which is $1,000 plus price range. That actually was the fastest growing segment, for better, for worse, for all of us. Premiumization is working. Unfortunately. So while we kind of talked previously about how things like, obviously consumers and right to repair and kind of like cut costs, and as well as the growing secondary market are gaining strength, companies are just making money because they managed to make us pay more for slightly better phones. Obviously I have opinions about that, but I thought that was just worth noting, that these are the two trends. We've got AI and premiumization in the years ahead. So I don't know.
I hadn't heard that terminology.
I hadn't either.
That's a great square to add to the bingo card now. So we can
premiumization.
It's
a thing. It's not even just a thing that Counterpoint made up. Yeah. I found way too many Google results from many, many different marketing and like research companies that are using it. So there you go. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Premiumization. There's a show title if there ever was one.
Yeah, work that
in
there.
It's really hard to say.
Premiumization. Yeah, it is. Well, if there's someone in this world who can work that into a title, it is our patrons. It's actually all of our fans, but our patrons especially. And if you hear a dog whining in the background, it's because my dog is laying there whining at me right now. So apologies.
We can't hear him. It's
okay. He's going to get louder. Just you wait and see. And you all have done a really wonderful job of sending us art for the show, for this segment, where we kind of talk a little bit about your pick for a story that we should talk about. So first and foremost, we have this art, and I got to say, I love it. It's by Kyle Veach. He submitted this.
Kyle sent in a batch of like video game themed ones, and this is the bug droid looks like playing Pitfall on a game artwork on a cartridge. Is awesome.
Yeah,
so
very reminiscent of like an old school NES cartridge.
And what's even great is that the cartridge, the AI that he used to generate this misspelled the word Android. It's Adroid News. And then
Android News.
And then underneath it says Android News.
It just has a cold. Adroid News. Adnoid.
My adenoids are swollen.
Adnoids news. Thank you, Kyle, for the wonderful artwork, and of the stories that we were voting for. Let's see here. The losing story was YouTube TV subscribers no longer have to guess what's available in 4K. No one cares, because who cares about 4K anyways, right? 14% voted for that. In second place, OnePlus rumored mini flagship could be the final nail on the coffin for small Android phones at 33%. And winning this week's vote is Google experiments with audio summaries of your daily news. And we kind of hinted at this a little bit earlier. Now's the time to talk about it a little bit, if I can be louder than my doggy.
Now we do hear the dog. So that's
I mean, he's like literally just laying there like staring at.
Maybe he doesn't want audio summaries, Jason.
Yeah. What would the dog audio summary be like now? But this is pretty. I gotta say though, when I saw this news bit, I thought this was pretty cool. I mean, Mishaal, we were talking about this earlier with the Google TV summaries. If it is good, this could be very neat, right?
Yeah, so it's an experimental feature through Search Labs on the Google app. And it's personalized AI generated audio summaries of the day's news and topics. It's tailored to your interests, as all the Discovery feed content is. 5 minutes or less, you get full playback controls, transcripts, links to the stories, all that kind of stuff. So basically an audio version of your Discover feed, which is a feed that we've talked about in the past. I don't really use it. Ron, it sounds like you use it. I don't know about the rest of you, but there you go.
I use Discover feed all the time. A couple of weeks ago, I was trying to listen to articles more often than not, when I was getting ready in the morning, I'm like, oh, let me listen to that article. But with all the advancements with Notebook LM and with all the with all the stuff that that they can do now to basically how you can make a podcast out of all this sort of stuff. This is just an extension of that. And Discover knows what I'm interested in. I mean, again, I'm looking at my Discover page, the first spot in it's from The Verge. It's about movies. I got Mets. I got it's got all the things I like in here. Very rarely do I see something on Discover that I don't like, and if I do, I tell it to stop showing me that stuff. For some reason, it was giving me local weather reports from Kansas City, which I don't know how that happened, but so I just said, don't show me news about Kansas City, and now it doesn't. So
yeah. I'm obviously not in the habit, because as I look at it right now, I mean, it's got stories I'd care about: OnePlus 13, DJI Flip, OnePlus Buds Pro 3, Chromecast with Google TV. So it's Elon Musk. So it's. You can't win them all. But yeah, so it's showing me some good stuff. So maybe I just need to remember it's there and use it more.
But getting an audio summary of that, I definitely would use the heck out of this. So
yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for placing your vote for us to talk about that, and also a special thank you to Philip Rue and Ben Hobb, two patrons that we want to call out and just say, no, you're awesome.
I am excited to report that we've gotten through the majority of our patron thank yous. So we're going from thanking 5 an episode to thanking a couple. So we're gonna.
Are we gonna hit a point to where we don't have anyone to thank?
That's what I'm trying to not have. No, well,
I hope not.
Yeah, new patrons, come on board. You want to get thanked? Get in there.
Yeah, get in there. So make it happen.
Yep.
We'll gladly thank you. All right. We're going to talk about some hardware. We've only just begun this show, apparently. That's coming up.
Begun.
In a second.
It does help that we started 25 minutes late, so that's pretty good too. But,
my bad, my fault.
Mishaal, I saw you looking at your Discover feed. On what device were you holding there?
On the new OnePlus 13.
So
I've had this for close to a month now.
Yep.
I did get to attend that cruise where I took the majority of the photos. And
you jerk!
I was gonna say, is this where we get to shame you for going on the OnePlus cruise?
I hate all of you cruise folk.
I live in a very unphotogenic city, Houston, Texas. I will take
I've
any opportunity
I've never heard a city described as unphotogenic.
Houston is an unphotogenic city. I will never. Anyone who lives here will tell you that. I will take any opportunity I can to actually go to photogenic places, and I got some amazing photos out of the OnePlus 13.
Awesome.
While I was there.
That's great. Well, yeah. Well, so we talked about the OnePlus 13 launch last week. I showed it off. I have the OnePlus 13 and 13R. Showed it last week, but I know Jason, you published your video on the 13 last week.
Yeah.
Mishaal, you posted to X your thoughts around the OnePlus stuff and from the cruise. But thought it'd be great for you guys to kind of share with us, just in your own words, kind of what you think of both phones coming out of the launch. And if you're loving OnePlus as much as all of us are these days, because it seems like they hit a home run with these phones.
I think OnePlus is doing a lot of really great things right now. They any of the doldrums of their brand from a few years ago, it seems like they've moved past that, and they're generating authentic excitement. I think the one thing about the OnePlus 13 that I noticed, it does a lot of great things. Yes, it's like smack dab in that flagship category. I feel like for a lot of reasons, the battery technology is different and massive. It's that silicon nano stack battery technology. That's neat. The excellent display, the camera improvements, all that. But now you're paying upwards of $900 for this device, and it really is firmly in. What was the word you said? Premiumization, like. If before OnePlus was sitting outside of the premium category because they were priced low enough to just get by from like that upper mid-range category thing, now they're in the premium and they're chasing premiumization based on what we were talking about earlier. Like this is not a discount budget phone anymore. This is $900.
Yeah.
That's a lot of change.
Well,
but that's not a bad thing. But it
right,
is
but then you've got the 13R at $599.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
which is
and this is for sure,
and which is affordable, but still that's the top end of the mid range.
Yeah,
$599. Yeah,
and the 13R is beautiful. I just have to say, like, it's one of the things about this phone that I love is that white kind of like polished swirl on the 13R is so pretty in person. Like, this
actually, I saw Jason. You were
phone.
holding up the 13. Which color did you get? Because I have the Midnight Ocean. And it has like this faux leather bluish. Like,
right. So you got the faux leather thing. This is, I can't remember what it's called. It's the black version, but if so it's glass and you see a little bit of like a wood texture kind
that's
of
the one I
design.
got. I got the black wood one. Yeah. And then for the 13R, I got the white
kind of pearl or whatever.
Pearly ceramic-y. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah. So
I don't have a review of the 13R. I'm not quite there yet. I hope to have that in a couple of weeks, but
it's really
I will
good.
say it's pretty dang impressive for the price, especially. This is where OnePlus can continue to retain its kind of initial glory of we give you a lot for a little.
I mean, I thought honestly, I coming out of last week's show and after playing with both those phones, I was like, man, do I switch to the OnePlus 13 as my daily driver? Like, do I move off of the Pixel 9 Pro?
Can.
Like, I really considered it, and then I was like, oh well, then do I lose? What do I lose not being on Pixel? And like, this is the constant like, do you get off the Google track or not? But the OnePlus 13 is very tempting. So
let me just give you like a rundown of some of my favorite features of my favorite aspects of the OnePlus 13, because you can read my full review on that X thread, and I am planning on forwarding that over to AndroidFaithful.com. Don't worry, just haven't had time to do that because of CES and everything else going on. The camera, as I mentioned, is very solid across the board. The main camera takes great photos. The telephoto camera, it's only 3x optical, but their AI algorithm for like upscaling and like denoising is really, really good. Like I've noticed, I've got some incredible shots at like 30x and beyond. You can like on my Twitter thread, I have some really great shots. And what really impressed me is the lack of shutter lag and like the ability to take really good shots with their action mode. So like there's like if you're watching like a show, watching people dive, watching people surf, which is all things that I did on this cruise. You can get some really good shots, like still shots, even when they're in moving really quickly. So if you have kids or pets, I think that kind of action mode will do a really good job at actually making them in focus when you take the photos. Portrait shots are also really good if you're taking photos of people from afar, especially with a 3x, the telephoto camera. In general, just as Jason mentioned, it's overall just a very solid device. Like big, beautiful display, 6.8 inches, 120 hertz, super fast and smooth. I haven't had any issues with lag. It's ultra bright. It has an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, so it's very fast. In contrast to the previous generation, with an optical sensor. So this one, now works when your fingers are wet or even in the dark. You don't need the area around the screen to light up like you do with optical sensors. Oxygen OS, of course, the software is the same between generally the 13 and 13R, but there are some useful, unique features on the 13, including that global search feature that basically allows you to search through your PDFs on device and your photos and your settings and things like that. And it can even like generate responses to questions that you ask about your files, which is pretty cool. The battery life, as Jason mentioned, 6,000 milliamp hour. It easily lasts me over a day every time, and then some. So like I've gotten like minimum 6.5 hours screen on time to like 12 hours, depending on what I'm doing throughout the day. And then the charging is just ludicrously fast. Like I ran some charging speed tests. Like in general, I've gotten, just let's say with the 80-watt wired charging, I've gotten like 42 minutes to charge from basically 0 to 100%, and about 83 minutes to charge from 0 to 100% with the 50-watt wireless charger. And speaking of the wireless charger, before the OnePlus 13, I'm going to switch over to my camera quickly here. Yep. I have this case on here. I did not know how much I would actually like Qi 2/MagSafe accessories until I got the OnePlus 13. Because, as an Android user, MagSafe is not really a thing unless you actually, get like a third-party accessory. But now that OnePlus is offering these cases for it, I've just had so much fun trying these various accessories like this O-Snap MagSafe attachment that goes on to MagSafe cases. And also their 50-watt wireless charger is just magnetically attaches, right? So it's super convenient, super fun, and thankfully we'll be seeing this a lot more often on smartphones in 2025.
Very cool.
And some other stuff,
Mishaal,
just in general, it's a very solid phone.
Did you put it in the dishwasher or the washing machine?
I didn't, but I did see it. I did post a video on that thread that shows the OnePlus 13 going through the ringer, going through a portable dishwasher.
I mean,
a portable washing machine?
Someone on the show did. Mr. Howell,
really? Last week,
right?
That's true.
Not just dishwasher,
Jason.
Man.
Not just.
Oh, you actually did it?
Jason put it through the paces. You've got to watch his video, Mishaal.
You're a braver man than I am.
I put it into a cocktail. I put it in the dishwasher.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
I put it into the washing machine.
Oh.
And
can I tell you how in my bones
Put it in the toilet.
No, are you serious?
The visceral reaction I had to you taking that phone out of the dishwasher, just like the cringe of like, oh God, it's never going to work. Or the fact that you put it in the toilet, thankfully clean toilet, not,
clean toilet. Yes, let me reiterate.
But it's sitting in there. It's, God, it's sitting in the toilet.
You're a braver man than me, man.
You put it in the washing machine too, right? The laundry washing machine. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
honestly, maybe I'll do it after I switch off this phone, but like I just
education.
can't stomach the idea of like, what if something goes wrong?
I love
it. It is IP69 for listeners who don't know. It's IP69 rated, which I did not know was a thing until
we talked about that on the show. You might have missed the show, but we talked about IP69 like as a punchline, and then like a week later we attended the briefing, the OnePlus briefings about these phones. They're like IP69. I'm like, oh my God, they're really doing it. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not just IP69; it's IP68 and 69,
and 69
technically. But yeah. I mean, they're solid devices for sure. Yeah, OnePlus is doing good things.
So, real quickly, one bit of program note. We did get an email from Antonius Petrides. I apologize if I misspelled your name. But last week on the show, we were talking about the OnePlus 13 and Matteo. You guys missed Matteo Doni, by the way. We got to have Matteo back on when you guys are on. But we were talking about the OnePlus, and Matteo made a reference to the what he perceived as the lack of support from OnePlus on their phones. Antonius wrote in to correct us, and he said, was listening to the latest podcast and surprisingly heard Matteo stating while speaking of OnePlus 13 that they only offer 3 years of support. That's straight up misinformation at best, since they offer way more than that, even on their previous models. The 13 series will get 4 major updates and 6 years of security updates. So Matteo was incorrect in that. Win and I didn't catch it. I was getting sick. It was a rough week last week, actually. But we apologize for that. So I just want to make sure we corrected everybody and everyone knew that with OnePlus you are getting 6 years of updates, which is great. So
that is something that I mentioned, like actually in my thread. Like, it's not class leading support. Like you have Google and Samsung offering 7 years of OS and security updates, but I'd say 6 years overall security updates. That's more than enough for most people. Like a lot of people are probably going to be upgrading the phones after 6 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Good stuff.
So good. So OnePlus off to a good start. Now we just need that Open 2. We looked at the leaks on that last week about the OnePlus Open 2. So we're excited to see that become official.
Well, listen, and later on we'll actually talk about something relevant to the Open 2.
Yep. But first, talking about leaks, we did talk last week. We got the confirmation on Samsung Galaxy Unpacked is going to be on January 22nd. which is next week, next Wednesday. Man, January is flying by. And so we're getting excited for that. And then last week was Leakapalooza when it comes to Samsung. Talk about leaky peaky. First, we got some very, very good renders of the Samsung Galaxy S25, along with, kind of a glimpse of what the most important thing whenever a phone launches, what does the wallpaper look like? Where we saw a very
and it's
cool...
an S.
It's an S, yeah. It's a very cool kind of, Rusha, that artist. I'm trying to think of the artist, but kind of like using light and shading to give an S in the background. So we got that kind of sense of what it would look like, and those came from winfuture.de, which was the source for these renders, and gave a good sense of what it would look like. And then the dam broke shortly after that when all of the Galaxy S25 specs leaked. Which kind of takes away the excitement of the news of the launch at Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. But sure enough, there it is. We've got all the information for it. So what we're looking at for the Samsung Galaxy Unpacked is we're going to have basically the Samsung Galaxy S25 and S25 Plus and Ultra are going to be there with minor tweaks to the design, some thicker camera rings and things like that, but will look very similar to the previous models. All S25 phones are we're expecting them to be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy SoC. And then moving further down the line into the specs, the S25 is the one that looks the most kind of adapted, with more of a with its rounded corners and the fact that they're sticking with the flat display. It's gonna have a 6.9-inch AMOLED 2x WQHD 120 hertz display. So you can look forward to that. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus is gonna, again, gonna look a lot like the S24. It's gonna be slightly thinner and lighter. It's gonna have a 6.7-inch AMOLED 2x display with a 3120 by 1440 resolution, 120 hertz refresh rate, which is the same as last year's phones from there. And then the Galaxy S25 is going to have the same panel, the same display panel as last year as the S24, with the AMOLED 2x panel, 120 refresh rate. So basically, and you can go to, we're referring to the article in our Android Police. Pretty much every Android outlet covered this leak. I'm trying to see where the actual source was that came from the actual leak that came from it. It looks like Android Headlines broke the news last week with the full leak. And it's all there if you want to go find it. But steal a little bit of thunder from Samsung, but I feel like this happens all the time. Right?
It's par for the course. It's just how it goes.
And there's nothing really terribly shocking here, right? I mean, like a little bit of a design evolution on some on some of the stuff, but not dramatic. The Snapdragon news is interesting, but mainly, kind of being status quo, moving everything forward. I got to imagine that a lot of the juice of their presentation on Unpacked is going to be around make sure you drink AI and how they're moving that forward. Maybe with fitness, with the stuff that we've seen from the Ring, and like health and fitness and the stuff they've been focusing on. I don't know. Are Jason, Mishaal, are you guys going to the Samsung event, or what is that? What are your guys' plans around Samsung?
Yep. I'll be there.
I will be there.
Cool.
My first time actually attending the event. I'm super excited.
Awesome. When are
Hopefully I get
you?
to see you this time, actually.
Yes. I have a feeling we'll see each other at this event. We'll be in like a building. So
when historically you get the checkbook out and pre-order, are you lining up for these, or no? Are you off the Galaxy line? Are you more?
No, I'll wait for the next one with the foldables, the next event where they actually have the foldables, which is, I'm definitely like a foldable person these days. I wish I had paid more attention to the Galaxy in the pre-foldable area, but no, I'm good. I'm curious to see, I think we did hear someone say that they might be announcing the Watch 2, and I think the Watch 2 has had a lot of positive press. The Aura has been doing a lot of good work this year too. So just kind of seeing if they continue the focus this year as they had last year on health. And yeah, whatever Galaxy AI has to offer, my favorite.
I think you meant the Ring 2, right?
Yeah, sorry, not the Watch 2, the Ring 2. My bad. The Galaxy Ring,
yes.
Ring 2. My bad. The round thing, you put it on your hand.
You put it on your finger, yeah.
It's MagSafe, right?
Totally. I will say that the case on that is pretty sexy. It has the best charging of any like smart ring for sure. Smart ring. The one that goes in your finger. Yeah, so there's lots coming out about Samsung, but of course, another one of our, I think, phones that we've definitely kind of covered a bit in the past is the Asus ZenFone. We don't have any good leaky peekies for you, but we do have Asus actually announcing the launch date for the Asus ZenFone 11 Ultra, or sorry, ZenFone 12 Ultra, the successor to last year's ZenFone 11 Ultra, and that will be launched on February 6th. Asus announced it on a post on Twix. And of course, what flagship phone in 2025 would be complete without AI? And in fact, the post announcing the launch of the ZenFone 12 Ultra definitely puts the point on AI, saying that the 12 Ultra will unlock the power of AI, but specifically for throwing the Asus ZenFone 12 into the ring even more in terms of, computational AI enhanced photography. And as that as a kind of like, selling point. In fact, the post is hashtag AI snap in style. Snap style. I don't get
snap in style.
Snap in style. That's all we know. The actual launch will happen. So we're US people. So for us, it will happen on February 5th at 10:30 p. Pacific time, 1:30 a.m. Eastern, if you happen to be in Europe or Asia, whatever the math on that is, but more in the morning to afternoon. And yeah, AI camera focus, and we'll see what else we have to see about it, or what other leaky peekies might come out of the ZenFone between now and then. But there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, they didn't share many details, but if they're going off of past history, it'll probably be based on the ROG Phone 9, because the 11 Ultra was basically a variant of the ROG Phone 8. It looked almost identical. It just didn't have the display on the back, and it didn't have some of the gaming features. I think like it didn't have like the as big of like a vapor chamber or whatever. But it'll probably just be like a rebadged Phone 9, which is pretty nice. I did get to see it briefly at CES, going back to CES. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We're only 3 weeks away from its launch.
I mean, talking earlier about the death of the small smartphone, I was really excited. I think we talked. I mean, a lot of people had a lot of buzz for this. Was it the ZenFone 10 or 9? Both of them were smaller.
The 9
phones.
and 10 were the 8, 9, and 10 were really small.
8, 9, 10 were like the lovely small phones, and I think that was a selling point. But with last year they changed that. They went to like a like as you said, they modeled it off more of the RG phone. So I'm a little sad. I really did like the 10. I had a 10, but oh well.
Yeah. Probably just, it's hard for them to have like multiple completely different phones. Mm-hmm. So they just like have kind of one base design, which is like the ROG, and then they have the ZenFone is the consumer version, and the ROG is the gamer version.
Yeah, but some of it's harder to stretch our birth given hands any longer than this. So I don't know. Only so much one can do. Okay.
Yep. Indeed. Well, you might want to know, because who knows? Maybe the Nothing Phone 3 will be a short, squatty phone. I don't know. I doubt it.
But is it premiumization happening?
Yes, is premiumization coming to the Nothing Phone brand? Well, that remains to be seen. I don't know, because this leak says nothing about premiumization, but it does say that the Nothing Phone 3 is set to release in the first quarter of this year. Initially, it was meant to release last year, so it got delayed, and I'll give you 3 guesses why. No, I'll only give you one, and you'll guess it. Artificial intelligence. The advanced AI features apparently were not up to snuff, and so they had to push it so that they could get it just right. But EvLeaks leaked an internal email from Carl Pei to confirm the impending launch. And there it is, just to prove it, if you're watching the video version. So Nothing Phone 3 coming sometime in the first quarter.
And they're saying it's the first flagship, right? I mean, like that's the
yeah. So okay.
So Nothing 1 and 2.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, what flagship to me means expensive.
flagship synonymous with expensive, or is flagship? See, flagship to me could mean two different things. It could mean that, or it could mean that this is our best phone in our portfolio. This is our flagship.
So according to Google Gemini AI overview search results, a flagship phone is, quote, a high-end smartphone with the best features a company can offer. Flagship phones are more expensive than other phones and have the latest technology and premium features.
Okay. All right. There you go.
My general benchmark is if they have the latest gen Qualcomm MediaTek Snap, like Samsung or Tensor or whatever, then it's a flagship. Yeah. That's an easy definition. Of course, obviously there are phones that blur the line. But
I always assume flagship is the $699 to $1,000 price range.
Well, like actually, there's a lot of phones that are now above the 1,000.
Yeah, like ultra premium.
Yeah, ultra premium.
The words don't matter. Words are imaginary.
They used to matter. They used to matter.
Well, I think I used to have more of the definition that Jason had, and that you could have maybe a more affordable budget brand still have a flagship phone because it would be the best one. But I think with premiumization and all the other thing else like that, the flagship and the high end / premium are basically the same thing now, for better for worse. But I do think like traditionally flagship could just mean a really great phone that didn't necessarily have to cost X amount of dollars, but not the reality we're living in.
See, How To Geek says flagship is used to describe more than just phones and ships. It's typically applied to a company's main product, the product that's been around the longest. So yeah, it's a word that
obviously is not going to work for phone companies, considering we get a new phone every year, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't think that it's necessarily that a phone has been around for a long time, but like
model brand,
the kind of brand of that phone, like the S24, S23, S22, whatever. That's all part of the same kind of Samsung brand.
Yeah, and I don't really think that a flagship phone is I guess I'll go, what is TCL's flagship phone? I just always assume flagship means expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Interesting. Why don't you tell us what it is, fans of Android Faithful? Contact at androidfaithful.com. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, definitely. We want to hear what you think. How do you define flagship?
Indeed.
Cool.
All right.
We got one more,
Mishaal.
And our last story, circling back to the rumors of the OnePlus Open 2, we actually have a teaser from OnePlus's sister company, Oppo, teasing the next flagship, there it is, that word, book-style foldable phone. The Oppo Find N5 is being teased as the thinnest foldable flagship phone, and they have this photo of the phone, presumably unfolded, and a pencil laid next to it. And you can see it's even thinner than a pencil, which is pretty
cool.
Crazy. Like, you don't know exactly how thin this is in terms of like millimeters, but it's gotta be crazy thin.
How thick that pencil is, because my kids have some thick pencils,
really
right? Right? It could be a chunky pencil,
right? But the interesting thing about this phone is it could be even thinner than the Honor Magic V3, which is already insanely thin, and it's the thinnest book-style foldable available today. And if that's true, that's going to be insanely thin and probably, hopefully, really light as well. That's still one of the biggest challenges with book-style foldable phones, is that they're still generally kind of unwieldy to use, especially the older Samsung foldables. They've gotten better, but these are just in another league on their own. And also, the other interesting thing about this is this device may very well become the OnePlus Open 2 if it launches in the US, because the OnePlus Open, the original one, was based on the Oppo Find N3. And the reason we're going from Oppo Find N3 to Oppo Find N5 is because of the superstition around the number 4 in China. Just go look that up with Google search. Or ask Gemini. It'll explain it in a nice way to you.
Is that like why we don't have 13th floors in hotels? Right?
There's more about the way the number 4 sounds close to like the number 4.
It's the same in Japanese. There's
it sounds like
of the number
death.
4. They sound like death, so they avoid it. You use the other pronunciation.
Yeah.
In Japan, you do anyway.
So interesting.
Cool. Well, yeah, I love getting a glimpse of what OnePlus will do by seeing what Oppo is doing. And if the Find N5 is super thin, and that means the OnePlus Open 2 is super thin, then
I'm all for it.
We win. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like we were talking earlier. It's a pretty big time for OnePlus right now. They're proving themselves in a lot of ways. I wouldn't be surprised if the OnePlus Open 2 ends up being, impressing a lot of people. And this would be a really great start to have it incredibly thin like that,
Cool.
And actually, now that I think about it, are they using the same silicon nanostack battery technology in order to achieve it? Right? That they have in the OnePlus 13? I bet you anything they do.
Have to. Why would you have that and not apply it and not use it? Yeah. So
I mean, that's part of what made the 13 thinner than the 12.
Oh, yeah. That was one thing that I meant to mention, was just how ridiculously thin it was for how much battery you have in there. It's noticeable.
Yep.
Yeah. So cool. I bet you we see that in the Fold.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up hardware. And we got some app news that we wanted to go over before we get to your emails. First and foremost, it is very funny because we see at a breakneck pace, Google has been making updates to various apps, from Google Photos to the Discover feed to things like that. And Google Messages is not alone, but very rarely do we see things that were changed come back. And here we have a case in this case, and I'm hoping this means that there's more stuff coming back, but we'll see. Google Messages brought back the ability to customize your contacts in the Google Messages app. Back in 2023, they made a change where you were forced to inherit the person's Google account profile and name. So if someone that you're messaging with had a Google account and they have an image for their avatar and the way they formatted their name, Google Messages sync that, because clearly you want to see the person as they want to be represented in terms of what they told Google. But turns out a lot of people like to be able to change the picture and the name of somebody in their own contacts. It's like the question of where do my contacts end and syncing with Google begins, right? So they brought back the ability for you to customize your contacts in Google Messages. And I just hope this means that they're going to bring back the inbox and the OTP and promo filtering functionality that they took away from us a couple of years ago as well. But hey, you never know. They keep us guessing. So
there's no way you'll get everything you want, Ron.
No, I know.
They'll give you just enough to give you hope.
Yeah.
Well, there might be, if you could get an undo redo button, Ron, then you could just redo the inbox filtering. But I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen for reality, but if you're on Gboard, the Gboard beta, specifically version 14.9.06, is finally rolling out that undo button that was spotted by folks at 9 to 5 Google back in July 2023. If you are a Gboard fan, it will be available as a shortcut, kind of along with the other shortcuts that you currently have, like with GIFs, themes, the settings that you can drag up into the row toolbar that was above the keyboard. Undo will become kind of one of those, and you can drag it up. So the way that undo redo works is that generally you're probably going to be undoing a character at a time, unless you delete like a whole word or a whole sentence via like selection and stuff like that. The undo redo history will survive even if you close the keyboard. It's tied to the app process itself. So the history, so once that application that you're typing in with that undo redo history is either closed, or maybe the process gets killed by Android operating system, that undo redo will be reset. But again, if you are just closing and opening the keyboard in the same app, you should have that undo redo history, which is pretty freaking handy. So yeah, if you're on Gboard beta like me, make sure you're updated and let us know what do you think about the undo redo button. I'm actually really excited for it. So there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, I got it that same day. I remember I was walking back between halls at the LVCC, and someone texted me, "Hey, is this feature new in Gboard?" I'm like, "Hey, yeah, it is. I have it too. The undo redo button."
Nice,
cool.
I seem to be on pretty lucky with getting these early rollouts. I don't know why.
Getting the features before.
Yeah, I'll shake it and see if I have it.
Get my account on the whitelist.
Install it. I want my right.
And finally, Google is apparently redesigning the Gemini overlay window. So right now, when you fire off Gemini on your mobile device, on your smartphone, you get this big squirkly rectangle, whatever you want to call it, rectangle with rounded corners, and it takes up a lot of space. Type, talk, or share a photo. It's got all the buttons and everything. And now some people, not many, but some people are getting an update where they're seeing this smaller, trimmer kind of elongated pill box appear, and it gives you just a couple of these functions embedded in the box, so it notably takes up less space on the screen, but still gives you basically the same functionality, and that makes a lot of sense to me. It's just it hasn't hit many people yet. It's definitely either being tested or on a very slow rollout.
Well, we're also seeing this kind of that with the Google TV stuff at CES, right? There was like the Gemini kind of box at the bottom that was similar to the Assistant kind of thing. Like I guess they're going to unify what the Gemini UI experience is going to be, and it's going to evolve clearly because they're going at a very fast pace with this stuff. So,
although it is kind of. I guess kind of interesting that this new overlay kind of removes functionality, because the previous overlay, at least on foldables and some tablets, actually had this handle you could drag and like open Gemini in a pop-up window. But now this little smaller overlay, you don't have the ability to open it up. It's just this tiny overlay on top of any screen. There's no handle you can drag anymore.
Right. Would you drag that so that you could see the full content, like the full command that you've given it? Is that why you would do
it? Was
that?
like, so you could have Gemini open in one split screen window, and you can have another app open in another one. You can drag and drop between the two and like continue your queries. This is actually something Google announced at I/O, and I think they talked about it again at the Made by Google event, because it's available on the 9 Pro Fold, and I guess now it's just gonna go away once they roll this new UI out.
Maybe no one was using it. Yeah, interesting.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our apps. But we want to hear from you, as usual, the Android Faithful audience. You can email us at contact@androidfaithful.com. We're going to get to your emails after this.
All right. It's time for some emails. Mishaal, you got the first one.
Yeah, our first email comes from Charles York from San Antonio, Texas, who writes in to say that I have a Samsung S10 for work. We just got new vehicles for us that has Android Auto. I have to use a cable to use it. My issue is my phone doesn't have the Google app installed, and I can't install it from the Google Play Store. Does anyone have any thoughts on how to fix the issue? Thanks for your help. So I'm kind of curious. You have an S10, but it doesn't have the Google app installed?
Well, so how
does that happen?
Yeah, I dug into this a little. So basically, if you've got Android 10 or higher, the Android Auto app is part of your system, right?
Right.
The Samsung S10 shipped with Android 9 and has been end of lifed and is not getting updates. So there's a good chance that you would need to install Android Auto because you'd already have it on your phone, but Android Auto doesn't work on Android 10 or below. So you might be falling into this gap, this kind of no man's land zone where Android, it all depends on what version of Android you're running, Charles.
Right. I do know what you're talking about, Ron. Yeah. So Android 10 and later, Android Auto is pre-installed, like in the operating system.
Yep.
Before that, it's an app you had to install and granted a whole bunch of permissions. I don't know if current versions of the Android Auto app support running on Android 9 and earlier. You may be able to get away with sideloading an older version of the Android Auto app and still using it with your car's head unit. I don't know if that'll work.
So the minimum Android version for Android Auto is 8. So it should work, but I wonder if Google is blocking it for some reason because they don't want it to work. I guess the larger question here at play, Charles, is why are you using a Samsung S10 for work?
I guess it'll work.
Can you get a newer phone from work?
Sideloading might also be an issue. I just realized, because if it's a work phone, they might not even be an option.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, did he get the phone from work?
Right.
And if so, can they update it? Because it's already almost 6 years old at this point. If it's yours, I have a great solution for you. The next Galaxy Unpacked is literally next week. And if you go to the site right now and just put your name in on a reservation or to say that you're interested in the next one, you get a credit, I think of just like $50 Samsung credit, but you get enhanced trade-in value for your device. So if this is your device, maybe it's time to upgrade it. Then these problems almost assuredly will not be there anymore for you, and you'll get a good trade-in. But I don't know if you're like financially able to do that if it's your phone. But
yeah,
it's just an option.
Good to know it's an option. I did find that back in back in November. It was reported that Google was ending Android Auto support for older phones, but using Android 8 as the line in the sand. So Android Auto listed version 9 or above as a requirement. So should be able to on if you're running Android 9, but I wonder if Google is just blocking it. That's I guess the big question. So yeah, it's a tough one. Whew. All right. Next email, Win.
Oh, you're muted, Win. That's why we didn't
My
hear
bad.
you.
I'm sorry. It took me forever to find that mute. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and our second email of the night comes from Mike Reif. I just accidentally placed my Pixel 6a on top of my Pixel Watch 2 while sitting on my dresser. I noticed a ta-da type of sound played on my Pixel 6a. No app or notification popped up on the phone nor watch. What is that tone? Is it some kind of NFC tone? What does it allow me to do? Mike Reif in Ohio.
I can hear it in my head because I hear that all the time because I think there's like an NFC something built into my desk. I don't know where, but I hear it all the time now when I put my phone down. That is almost surely the NFC sound, like the NFC tag scan sound.
But what is it doing when you're touching the phone to the? Is it like confirming
it's just detecting
a connection?
It's a tag.
Yeah,
it's
just
trying to get some
recognizing
data, but there's no actual data being sent. Probably
there's no action assigned to it, so it's like I've made a connection.
Like I've scanned
Deliver
something,
to me
but
what
I have
I
nothing to
get,
do with
and
it.
I get nothing.
Right.
Oh, I think I had that happen in the past. Yeah, and then it sometimes you used to get a toast saying like no action, like something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
You get sometimes you get this like blank white screen and it's like no action
exactly.
or
yeah,
something
and
like
like
that. Yeah,
cool.
So NFC is enabled on one of the devices or both of the devices. And
NFC is usually enabled by default on most phones that have it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
on
love
Watch
NFC.
Yeah. I wonder which of the two devices is sending and which one's receiving. In that regard. But
I had a great earlier today in a meeting. I spent about 45 minutes talking about NFC and like how NFC passive tags and active tags work and readers work and like getting into the hardware aspect of it. And it's fascinating. It's so cool. It's like, so yeah, I don't know. I love NFC. Very cool.
I use it a lot now for payments and stuff.
I mean, I can't live without it now, to be honest. It's awesome.
Yeah. So just real quick, I have this case. What is it? A Spigen case, and I won't open it too far, but it opens and I can store only a couple of actual like cards in there.
Oh, cool.
So I put like just my driver's license, just a little like healthcare card, and then a single credit card. But I never have to use the credit card because the wireless payment always works now. So happy with that
stuff.
But I feel better having it.
By the way, but I think the person who sent us the first email is actually in our Twitch chat right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We've never actually had like a live follow up to our response.
Which username? I'm sorry.
Morbius65
In Twitch.
Are they?
Oh,
they
there you go.
seem like to be the
Morbius65. There it is. Yeah.
Answering
Hey, Charles.
their S10 that's running Android 12, but for some reason they can't. I was curious what they said. They can't install the Google app. Like that was that probably tripped me up.
So they must be blocking it at the administrator level for some reason because they want to make sure that you don't install.
Yeah.
It's Android 12 for some reason. I can't install the Google app. Yep,
but the Google app that is literally pre-installed. I'm pretty sure that's always been pre-installed. So I don't know what's up with that.
He says they're supposed to get
the Google
new
app is literally what Assistant has. It's what powers Google Assistant, Google Lens.
Yeah.
It's like pre-installed on all Android phones.
Yeah.
So I don't know where or like how why it's not available. Because if you don't have the Google app, then Android Auto probably won't. Android Auto should still work because it's independent from.
Right. Do you have the Google Play app? I guess that's I don't know. Well, we can talk about this afterwards.
Yeah, that is very, very weird. I'd love to have more.
Well, Charles, I'm crossing my fingers for you that you do get a new phone from work, and then this problem will go away. So
you deserve a new phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
For real.
Let that S10 rest.
Yes. And if you tune in, if you're listening to this podcast, if you tune in live, we live stream on Twitch and on YouTube on the Daily Tech News Show channels. You too can talk to us live to solve your tech support issues or not solve them, as the case may be. We do that every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So, yeah. Cool. Well, that's going to wrap up the show. Thank you for everybody for your emails. Again, you can email us at contact@androidfaithful.com. We do love to hear from you. But it's going to wrap up the show completely. It was great to have everyone together because I know that we won't for the next couple of weeks because I think we're losing you, right? You're going to be away
3 weeks.
For 3 weeks.
Sorry.
Yep. I'm going to be away later this month. So this is our last time in January of all four of us being together. But until then, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on randomlytyping.com. I am an Android developer. That's my day job, and I like talking about it. And I do talks sometimes, like proper talks, not just like rambling on the show. And you can find my talks, associated code, and video on my website, randomlytyping.com. And find me on Instagram at QueenCodeMonkey and on Blue Sky at QueenCodeMonkey.dev. I almost forgot my own handle. But I think that's it. So try to find me there.
All right. Jason, tell us about your world of putting phones in the washing machine.
The world of Jason, where I run my devices through dangerous objects. It's the first time I've tested a phone like that. But you know what? Like they said IP69, like it can withstand all this stuff. They gave examples. I was like, okay, well then I'm going to put it to the test. So anyways, you can go to youtube.com. Just go to YouTube and search for Jason Howell. You will find me. I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Jason Howell. And, if you want to support me directly, you can do that there. And I just really appreciate all of you and all of your support in 2024 and looking forward to an even better 2025. So thank you.
Excellent. It's going to be a fun year for 2025. That's for sure with all the stuff we all do. And Mishaal, where can people find you to spend 2025 with you to get even closer to your heart?
If you want to keep up with the world of Android in 2025 and find out what's going to happen in the next big update, Android 16, you can find all of my social media channels at my Linktree page, which is on screen right now, which is at Linktree/Mishaal Rahman. I've posted, I'm getting back in the swing of things. I took like a brief break because of the holidays, but I've posted some Android 16 stuff this week. I got a lot more in my backlog. And with Unpacked and all the stuff happening Mobile World Congress, I got a lot of things to cover. So please do follow me on all the social media platforms or whichever one you prefer. I'm on a lot of them.
All right. Where in the world is Mishaal? That's the game I like to play. And finally, you can follow me on social. I'm at RonXO on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon, etc., etc. Is where you can find my stuff there. But excited to have the whole team back tonight. Jason, Mishaal, look forward to seeing you next week. When we will miss you next week. But until then, you want to tune in, go to androidfaithful.com to get all the awesome articles and stuff like that we do in covering the world of Android. You can email us at contact@androidfaithful.com. Subscribe on your favorite podcast apps. Do whatever you need to do. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/androidfaithful, where you can support us directly if you like to, because we're ready for another year of Android. We're excited, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Android Faithful. Woohoo!
Yay!
Not bad. Hey, for running along early in the show, we nailed it. So
I don't know how we did that. That's impressive.
We're professional podcasters. That's how.
Yeah, we know what we're doing apparently, or we like to pretend that we do long enough that people believe us.
Yeah. All right, let's name the show.
Yeah, af.showbot.tv. Or dtns.showbot.tv. They both go to the same place. Would you like a phone with that battery? Good pick, Clinton. Google TV Assistant, assisted by Gemini. The ruggable battery. Android Faithful helping LA. Does your home matter? Alcatel badunkadunk phone. One word, premiumization.
I like that's the British spelling of premiumization.
It is. Yeah, I like it. Very fancy. Very sophisticated.
2 different ways to do that with the S and with the Z. Yep. The OnePlus 13 dishwasher safe, roll your own laptop screen, bring back dumb phones, a whole bunch of ones and zeros, yes.
Job really just went to town as usual. Very good.
Yeah. Part-time job.
I feel like it's got to be premiumization, doesn't it? It's got to be
something with premiumization.
I think
it certainly came up, and it seems like a terminology that maybe we should feature. Yeah.
Just phone premiumization of phones.
Maybe tie like OnePlus in there because we did the review. It was kind of
we do OnePlus chasing premiumization.
Oh. OnePlus chasing premiumization. Yeah. The chase is Let's see here. Premiumization is just such a mouthful.
It is.
It's really hard to say.
All right, so let's not go with that one. Let's go with a different one then.
No, I mean it works, but it's just I realize as I say it, I'm tired at the end of the word.
Premiumizing.
The premiumization of OnePlus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Of OnePlus.
Just OnePlus premiumization?
There's a kind of alliteration when you do it that way.
OnePlus premiumization. Yeah.
Oh, that's a tongue twister.
There you go.
OnePlus premiumization.
That works.
Okay.
All right. Inspired by the titles, the choices that you all submitted.
That's right.
So thank you. Yeah.
Never know how it's going to work. Sometimes it works out that way.
Yep. So.
All right, we did it.
Yeah. Mike, thank you for pointing out. Yes, the pinball was at CES. It's there every year. There's a new game that launched at CES. The new Dungeons and Dragons pinball machine came out.
I saw that actually. I was gonna text Ron like, are you related to this at all?
I knew about it like 2 weeks before it was announced. So yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Is there any Scorbit tie-in with?
Not in that one yet. So we'll see. So
yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Hard at work. We're just not locked, but close to finalizing our brand refresh or redoing our logo and stuff like that. So that's exciting stuff, but I can't show it until we're ready to show it. So now I got to sit on the new logo for like 2 months. We'll get there.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good stuff.
Good stuff.
I'll miss you guys.
Yeah, where are you going? I'm sorry, where are you traveling?
So the next week, my cousin's coming to town. She's never visited. I kind of want to, and she works restaurant business, so she never takes time off. So I want to kind of give her the time. And then we're headed back to Japan for a couple weeks. We're going to go to some festivals. I will try to not call in, join into the show as I like to do from the Japanese morning.
As a viewer?
As a viewer. And I actually am going to try to get a Pixel Watch there because there's this whole thing about NFC. Speaking about NFC, their transit only works with NFC with some kind of Japanese something. So I'm going to try to see if I can get Celica. Cool. Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to work, but if not, my husband will get a Pixel Watch 3 that we bought in Japan. So cool.
There you go.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm here next week, but then I fly to LA on the 22nd. I fly to Orange County the 22nd. Then I've got the Pinball World Championships next weekend. And then I'm actually on the red eye from LA the 28th, that Tuesday night. That's why I'm missing the show. So, because
we got to figure out what we're going to do because we're both going to
be because we're
going
to be kind of
Tuesday night.
San Jose traveling.
Wait for next week for the 21st. Oh,
yeah, we're both going to be there because that's the day before Unpacked.
Yep.
Interesting. Is this one where we record on Monday and do it as a premiere, or do I do the show live and get a guest and just?
Oh, I mean, we could do that. We could do Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do that, but well, wait a minute. Oh, wait, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm actually that's a holiday. I'm.
It is right. It's
skiing or I'm snowboarding with my daughter.
Ah.
I mean. I'm hoping that it's a hope, but I'm hoping that where I stay, which I haven't booked yet, but wherever I stay has reasonable
Yeah, hotel internet has been better than there. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll see. We'll figure it out this week.
I'm considering myself in. Yeah.
Whatever happens next week, will happen to you. You might be surprised with who ends up on the show.
I mean, it might make sense to just have a guest booked. Yeah. That way, worst case scenario, we have someone.
Or what I can do is we can take the whole rundown and put it into Notebook LM, and then I can do the show with Notebook LM.
That is the best way to retain all of our subscribers.
Can we train an AI model on all of our shows and then have an AI co-host when somebody can't be on it that is just as knowledgeable as any of all of us, maybe even smarter? And then
someday, some people might convince you that it can be done now, but I would poke holes in that theory.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
So yeah, maybe what we need to do is book someone, just to be sure, and then it sounds like Mishaal and I'll just have to kind of see what our scenario is.
Okay, yeah, well, we can do that. That's fine. So we'll figure that out. So
I'm going to go ahead and end the stream so that the uploads can finalize. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening and for being here. You all are awesome. We love you, and we will see you next time.
Good
night. Bye, y'all.